Alright. I did it again. I said I was going to start a different way, but whatever. That's fine. Welcome back, everybody. Soul Commodore here. Thank you for joining me on this fine Tuesday evening. Of course, it might be morning or afternoon where you are, but here, it might even be Wednesday already where you are. But here, it's a nice Tuesday evening. No, it's not. It's Thursday. Why did I say Tuesday? It's Thursday. You would think me starting a new job would, remind me what day of the week it is. Anyway, it might be Friday where you're at. Yes, thank you, Shano. Yes, it is Thursday. But welcome back. Welcome back. Glad you're joining us. Today we're going to be working on this piece again. I don't think I'm going to touch much more of anything here in the middle. It's mostly going to be over here on the right and over here on the left that we're going to be touching up. I'm going to start on the right first. So I'll angle the camera a little bit more that way. But before we start anything, we have to actually put some paint on our palette. And just a word about palettes. Once again, do as I say, not as I do, because that's the kind of artist that I am. You want to try and not do what I did with this black here, which is you see that there's quite a lot of paint built up here. And some of it is still kind of like squishy, so there's probably good paint underneath. But basically what this means is that I put a whole bunch of black paint on this palette, and then I didn't use any of it. So if you're trying to be economical and trying not to waste paint, try not to do that. Try to only use colors that you're going to use or that you're planning to use, and then if you need something later, you can always add it to the palette. Don't add it beforehand, because then that happens. The black paint didn't harden all the way. It's part of it is still soft, so if I broke the skin on it, there would still be good paint underneath. But I haven't used any black paint in this painting yet, so it might go hard. I don't know. Also, the original size of Queen Park, the original size, I believe, was 30 by 24. Either 30 by 24 or 30 by 22. I'll have to look that up. Actually, let me just look it up now. I mean, I do have a website and everything. I could just check real quick and see. Okay. I'm leaning by 30 by 22. I'm way off. The original was 24 by 36. The original is 24 by 36. Yeah. So that was the original size, yeah. So we're just gonna throw some a little bit more paint on this palette. Start with some red. And I get to show off real quick the little tool that I had in my hand there. In case you were wondering, this little tube key. Basically what it is like, you'll see it used often for like toothpaste and all that kind of stuff. You just slide it onto the tube, like so. Well, first you open the tube. That would help. Yeah, 24 by 36 inches. Yep. So first you open your tube. I guess you don't have to open it first, but it will help in this case. And then you just turn this key up, like once it's in position, you just turn it up, like so, and it will begin to squeeze the very last of the paint out of the tube. Like so. And that right there, because this is a small tube, that's probably the last of that paint that we're gonna actually get out of that. So. Yeah, they're very handy. And then we need some more white paint. Because white paint is important for getting the luminescence that we see here. You can't quite get that with black paint. doesn't hit the same way. Ooh, this paint is old. You'll notice with acrylic paint, you'll notice when the paint is old. I'm not sure about oil paint because I don't use it enough, but when it starts to kind of look like there's lumps in it, and it's kind of like curdled, you'll know the paint is old. So this tube is done. Let's try this one. This one should be fine. Yeah, you want the paint to look silky and smooth. You don't want it to look like cottage cheese. There, that'll be enough white for now, I think. But yeah, how's everybody doing this Thursday evening? Hope y'all are keeping well. Getting our brush together, same brush that we were using for all of this cloud work, because it's worked well so far, so why not keep it going, right? Pretty relaxed day. That's good. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to angle the camera a little bit more this way while trying not to drop it as I slide this makeshift tripod. And we're going to come over more to this corner. I almost dropped it, but I caught it. There we go. All right. Oh, also, I'm sporting a new watch that my sister got me for Christmas. I'm a fan of it. It looks all nice and fancy. I like it a lot. Okay. So what do we want to do down here? I'm going to start in this area, I think, because we worked on this a little bit, but I'm not 100% happy with it, so... It's hard to believe that tomorrow's Friday, which is probably why I didn't remember that today's Thursday. But even with starting a new job, like, short weeks always kind of mess with me. Here's a question to all you lovely people in chat. Would you rather have a long weekend that starts on Friday or a long weekend that extends to Monday? Yo, Zella. Thank you for the lurk, man. Thank you for lurking. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Yeah, same here, Shano. I'm the same way. Because the way I see it, like a Friday long weekend is great. But the Friday is the bonus day, right? But the Saturday and the Sunday stay the same in terms of, like, you're still probably going to be busy Saturday, and then Sunday's going to roll around, and you're like, okay, well, I got to get ready for work the next day, right? Which, hopefully you don't hate your job if you're employed, but it's more just sort of like okay, well, it didn't really get to be as relaxing, especially because a lot of people do plan stuff for that Friday that they have off, right? Whereas Monday is a bonus after the weekend. So you get done your Friday, you get home, Saturday's busy, Sunday might be busy, and then you're like, I get an extra day. So I much prefer it when long weekends fall on a Monday and you get the Monday off rather than a long weekend starting on a Friday. Now, if it's a rare 4-day weekend, well, that's just golden. It doesn't make a difference then. The whole thing's just great. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I do want to take out some of the darkness that's in here, because I didn't plan for this to be as dark as it is. But also, Zell, yeah, sorry I missed the rest of your stream. Like I said, I was switching between yours and Jake's while I was working on a report from the meeting that I was in. And then all of a sudden I noticed Jake was crying for help with a shrine. And I was like, ooh, I remember how to do this one. And then next thing I know, you were popping in to lurk in his stream. And I was like, oh, crap. I missed the end of Zell's. So I hope the rest of your stream went well. Okay, that looks pretty good. What do I want to do in here? I think starting in this corner and moving this way is going to be my best bet. But I am going to get a slightly larger brush for part of this. Now, where is my round brush? There it is. We haven't used this dude in a while, so we're going to break him out now. Also, in case anyone's wondering, so Saturday, the schedule for what I'm planning to do with the gaming streams, those are going to be much more loosey-goosey and much more up in the air than the art ones. The art ones, I'm keeping, the Tuesday, Thursday, and oh, I forgot the camera's down here, so you're just looking at my torso. before I finish that thought, here's the round brush. You see, it's a round shape instead of like a flat edge. So it's going to be much more fluid than the art streams. The art streams are going to stay Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. To start, though, the gaming streams are going to be on Monday, sometimes Wednesday, and Saturday to begin with. And then in the summer, they're going to move to Sunday. So we're going to start out with art on Sunday and then move into playing some games during the summer. But for now, gaming stream is going to be on Saturdays as well. So, and I'll go into more detail with all that once my capture card actually gets here, which right now it's stuck in Niagara-on-the-Lake due to a routing error. So, that's always what you want to hear. But you know what? If that's my biggest problem, is that my capture card is going to be a little late, that's fine. That's fine. That's not a big deal at all. So these clouds over here are going to be darker. They're going to be as defined as these other ones, but there's not going to be as many highlights with these clouds. You'll also notice as I come toward the edge that this is moving a little bit, which means that this stretcher is not as square as I thought it was, but that's okay. It's still more than square enough to like hang on someone's wall. But if it was square, like it would be flat on the wall and it would not be moving at all with me painting on it, so. But that's okay. That's also okay. There's a lot of things that are okay. You know, they're slightly annoying, but in the long run, they're gonna be alright. We gonna be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gonna be alright. Okay, so before we go any further, I'm going to define this shape right here. What is it that we're going to do with this cloud? Now this time I'm going to have a little bit more paint on my brush than I usually do for these clouds. And we're really going to define this. Yeah, that's better. That's better. And we're not lightening up a lot of it, but I am just putting a few highlights in there, which aren't really highlights. They're just more slightly lighter tones. Yeah, I like how that looks. And now we're going to come down here. I'm going to start building up these tones here. I want that a little bit more purple, a little bit darker. So add a lot of blue and a little bit of red. Fill that in. All the way over here. Yeah, that looks good. So a lot of times when I'm working on a piece, what I'll do is I'll get up and take a look at it from a distance just to make sure that I'm hitting everything that I want to with the piece. The nice benefit to streaming is I've got my stream output over here on my laptop, so I can just look to my left and see how it looks from a distance because my camera is over here. So I can kind of like gauge from there and, without having to get up, which is nice in its own way. Now down here we're going to deal with a few more, like more red tones. Because these clouds are going to be all sorts of different tones. All sorts. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I like how this is all coming together. I'm going to switch gears real quick and just kind of define some stuff over here. As we are wont to do, because this is our painting. Well, I guess technically I'm using the royal we there. Technically this is my painting, so I can do whatever I want. But I like to be inclusive. Y'all are watching me do this, so this is our painting. We're doing this together. Now, the internet being the internet, I should be careful saying that, because, you know, some fool will take a screenshot of this and then, like, make an NFT of it and be like, technically, this is my painting. Just in case anybody's wondering, let me clear this up right now. I am not a fan of NFTs. I'm not a fan of them at all. I think they're ridiculously wasteful for the environment. I think they're a very stupid concept. And I understand that people are out there, you know, you gotta hustle when you're an artist. But I don't know. I don't personally dig NFTs. I don't, like, judge the people who do NFTs as, like, horrible people or not true artists or anything like that, because that would be dumb. But I am not a fan of NFTs. I think it's kind of a fugazi. Just in case any of you were wondering how I felt on the matter. Which I'm sure that was like very few of you. Hey, Jake from the Woods. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, this is new. This is a new technique, new concept. And once again, I'll link it again just in case anybody has missed it. But there's an artist on Instagram. Her username is I'm guessing the K is silent, but it's Senyaverse with a K in front. It might be Kasenyaverse. Anyway, she does fantastic cloud work in her pieces, like just mind-blowing. So I'll link her Instagram here because I kind of looked at the way that she does things, and she does them much better than me. But I'm kind of borrowing that technique with this because I've never done clouds to this extent before. So there's her Instagram right there. So you should check that out if you haven't already and see kind of the inspiration for how I'm doing these clouds. He's a marvelous, marvelous artist. So yeah, please, I can't control any of you, but please don't take a screenshot of this and make an NFT out of it. I will be very disappointed in you. Okay, let's add some darker tones in here. Well, thank you, Sashano. I appreciate that. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit rattly because, like I said, the painting is sitting a little bit off the wall on this side. Oh, Jake, it looks like you were a victim of Moobot there. What was that? Here, let me see what happened here. Hey, Kidney Gamer, what's up? What's up? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. I feel like Jake just tried to... Oh, you were pointing to the comment above you. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I hope, I mean, this channel is family friendly-ish. But, like, you know, I don't want to censor nobody. Okay. So, sorry, just bear with me, everybody. I'm just looking at some settings because I accidentally just closed my chat in OBS. Every once and again, I'll do something silly like that. There we go. That's better. Ah, yes, those are arrows. I thought they were asterisks. Which I was like, wait a minute, why? You're allowed to swear in my chat. You know, try to keep it to kind of a minimum, but even then, like, I don't care. If kids see the stream and they pick up swearing from someone using a little bit of foul language in my chat, they're going to hear it eventually. Hey, Kidney Gamer, thank you. I appreciate that. Feel free to pop in and out. I just appreciate you being here. And also, Sashano, thank you for redeeming Glug Glug, because I could use a drink. But yeah, no, feel free to pop in and out as much as you need to. I just appreciate you being here. All right. I need darker tones. That's what I was doing. I was putting some shadow in here. So one thing, too, that this is a good exercise in is a realization that, like, usually things aren't just one color, right? Like, if you look in nature, like, you'll look at, like, grass, and grass is green, but it's all sorts of different shades of green, and sometimes you get some, like, yellow and red, sometimes some blues, browns, all that kind of stuff in there, all sorts of different tones. With these clouds, like, there's not anything in this painting that is pure white. Like, not even this is pure white. There's a little bit of pink in there, you know, and same with these, right? None of these are pure white clouds. You know? And if you're working from life, one of the things that's fun to do is studies where you don't even... We did this one study in school where we weren't allowed to use the main color of whatever it is that we were painting. So if you were painting like a red apple, you couldn't use red, right? You could use orange, but you had to like play around with your color palette, which is a really good exercise for stuff like this because, yeah, there's not a pure white cloud in this sky, you know? And it kind of forces you to kind of work around that. Like even, yeah, it is a cool study. Oh, sorry, there's a notification on my computer where it wants to restart itself, and I would rather it didn't. Yeah. Okay, here we go. What are the chances I could commission art of the old St. Clair restaurant? Well, just, either drop me a message on Facebook or shoot me an email. You'll find the email on my Instagram or on my website. I'm pretty sure it's on my website. Yeah, shoot me a DM on Instagram or a message on Facebook. Yeah, and we'll discuss it, because my price is kind of, it depends, you know. Basically what I do, which was a really, because I really struggled sometimes with like commissions before, because I had no idea what to charge, because a lot of people said, you know, you set like a dollar amount per hour, and it's like, well, yeah, but sometimes my artwork doesn't take that long, right? Especially drawings. So, hello. So what I did is I was watching this video of this woman who was also talking about commissions, and what she did is she assigned a dollar amount per square inch. Hey Jake, thanks for the lurk. I always feel like somebody's watching me. That was a little bit pitchy, but that's okay. And yeah, computers do pick the worst times for restarts. Yeah, but anyway, this woman was saying that she charges a certain dollar amount per hour. Or not dollar amount per hour, dollar amount per square inch with her pieces. So I've kind of like converted over to that, you know, where I'll have a set dollar amount and then work from there. So yeah, we can talk. And of course, like I've also, like, you know, I'm pretty flexible with stuff. Like, I could do like payment plans. I can do like, you know, I can work around your budget. I'm like a shady payday loan. Except I'm not actually shady. All right. So we're making good progress on this corner. I think this down here in this corner, I'm going to make this cloud very, very bluish. Like, obviously it's going to be purple, but a painting shark, yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I want this cloud down here to be much more tonally blue. I don't know why, but I just do. I think it'll look nice. And if, you know, if the price is too much, like that happens sometimes, but what I can do is I can do some research and try and find an artist in your area that is a little closer to the budget that you can afford, who would be able to do that work. You know, who does work that's not like similar to mine, but that you might enjoy too. Because I've done that before as well. Although I found lately that a lot more people nowadays, especially of younger generations, which I really do appreciate, have been much more open to the idea of any sort of like handcrafted thing, whether it be artwork or something that's knitted or crocheted or sewn, clothing, any sort of craft work that people are selling. I found that people of the younger generation have been much more open to the fact that, yeah, it's going to cost you a little more than you would get at Walmart or whatever. And it'll probably cost you a lot more, and for good reason, Which is nice. It is warm down in this corner. What time is it? It's almost 1:45. All right. Need a little bit more blue on that. There we go. So I've been asking a couple of times over the past couple of streams, like if anybody has had any, goals or New Year's resolutions for this coming year. But I'm going to change it up a bit today. Are there any resolutions or goals that you made last year that you actually accomplished in 2021? Let's hear about some stuff that you wanted to do and then ended up succeeding at. Even if you just started it, I wanna hear it. Needs a little bit more red, and now a little bit more blue because I made that too red. And if you didn't achieve anything last year that you set out to, that's all right too. There are plenty of things that I wanted to do that I didn't do. That's normal. That's human. It doesn't make you lesser. It just makes you human. For instance, I know last year, before these streams, I did not paint nearly as much as I wanted to. But, just stressing through trying to find a job and all that kind of stuff kind of saps your energy. So I didn't really have a whole lot of spare energy left over to paint. cut some extremely unhealthy habits and friends out of my life. There's shockingly very little. Yeah, well, hey, man, that's good. That is an accomplishment, I would say. That's an achievement. It's very hard to cut people out of your life. It's not an easy thing to do, you know? But sometimes it's extremely necessary for your own well-being and mental health, and unfortunately sometimes for your physical health. So, no, good for you. Good for you, that's good. Okay. So this corner down here, I think I'm almost pretty much done with it. Alright, just a few things that I want to throw in. I'm going to fill in this a little bit. Oop. Need to lighten that up. Keep in mind when you're working with paint, a little bit of red goes a very long way. Much like black. A little bit of black goes a very long way as well. Just kind of wash the rest of this out. I will be right back. I'm not going to put up the be right back screen, but I will be right back. I just need to soundproof this door real quick because my girlfriend's going to be starting her dragon boat training pretty soon, where she's coaching a workout, and I don't want her to have the music and me talking interrupt her. So I'm just gonna go soundproof real quick. So I will be right back. Okay, and we're back. Yeah, it was just very quick. All right. What else do we want to do here? A large part of what I'm doing here is I'm kind of filling in gaps in the pigment where the paint got a little bit too thin. And it's just like areas of white. I usually don't worry too much about those gaps. But when you have colors as rich as this and as varied as this, I don't want that much of the white showing through, so I'm taking care of it now. It's not on the table. What about your desk? Oh. I'm not sure. I'll come out and help look in just a second. Where was it?
Under a bunch of papers.
Ah. That might be a little bit too bright. So we'll kind of blend that out in, well, I don't know. It might be okay now. It definitely started out too bright. And like I've mentioned before, yeah, we're using a very, very slight amount of paint. There's not a whole lot of paint on my brush. And we are working with acrylic, so this certainly isn't blending wet on wet, like a wet brush on wet paint. This is by and large dry paint that we're blending with on the canvas itself, which makes for a fun little challenge. Okay. So I'm just kind of picking and choosing areas to work on here. There's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason other than I want to get some areas done first and then move on from there. Nice, nice. Okay. So, what do we want to do next? I think because I'm getting a little bit, not tired of it, but I'm getting a little bit tired of kneeling. I'm going to have to kneel over here too, but it'll be kneeling in a different spot. So we're going to come over to this part of the painting over here. This over here. So I'm going to back the camera out a bit. There we go. And we're going to start putting in some stuff over here. We'll do that for a few minutes. Well, more than a few minutes. And then we're going to take a short break so I can use the washroom and grab a drink, all that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, I'm going to take a drink of water now. This is a very... Let me tell you something. Gentlemen out there, or ladies, or otherwise, if you're non-binary, whoever, because anybody can wear whatever clothes they want. If you want to get very, very warm clothes, in the men's section of H&M, these sweaters are very, very warm. Like, they live up to their name. You do sweat. They're very, very warm. They definitely necessitate hydration because you're going to lose a lot of water. Okay, so over here, you'll find that there's different areas and different tones, right? That seem kind of like just haphazard and just kind of all over the place. That's another bristle that there we go. Because you'll see like more pinkish stuff here, then there's some white, and then you get more of like the lavender all through here, and then the darker down here. And it's like, well, what do we do with this? But it's actually pretty cool, because what we can do is we can actually use these natural edges. So you'll see like there's a lavender edge that comes down here. We can use that as a baseline for building the edges of clouds in the background, much like we did up here, like in this area here, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to clean our brush, and I am going to get, actually I'm going to keep this brush. This brush has been working well for us. So I'll show you what I mean by highlighting it with my brush before we actually lay any paint down. Oh, well, welcome back. Welcome back. So we have our brush all set here. So, like I was saying, we got this like lavender outline here. So what we're going to do with that is we're actually going to grab some white paint. Put very, very little on the brush. And we're just going to outline that. Like so. In some areas will be whiter than others. Like through here. And just like that, you have the outline of a cloud way in the background being illuminated by some sunlight. And we're just going to kind of blend that out a little bit. I'm just going to blend that out. Just like so. Thank you. Yeah, it's a nice little technique that I got from that artist that I linked earlier, Senyaverse. I'm gonna wash this brush a little bit more though, because there is some black coming through here, and it's just because the brush is still a little bit dirty. So I'm really gonna clean that well. Then we're really going to squeeze as much out of this as we can. Make sure that it's really dry and has no residue on it. I'm just kind of drying it on my pants here. There we go. And doing the little hand test to see if there's any residue coming off on my hand, and there isn't, so we're good. So let's try that again, shall we? That might be a little bit too much. So we'll just add some pink to it and tone it down a bit. Remember, everything with paint is fixable. The only thing that's not fixable is that mural of Jesus in that one church where he ended up looking like a monkey. And even that's pretty fixable. Actually, I don't know if they fixed it now, but God, that was funny. Yeah, exactly. Got to avoid that. You have to be a little bit darker. There we go. It's a pretty nice, nice view in there. I'm going to use that same technique in here a little bit. Just kind of outlining an edge. Just like so. Yeah. Looks good. Alright. And now we're just going to do the same thing with these other shapes that are in here. Basically just adding a little bit of white, muting it a little bit, and just going along the edge of the shape that's already there, blending it out a bit. And there we go. Without any work at all, just using a little bit of white paint. Now we have a really nice edge on this cloud here. You know? It's as simple as that. It takes some practice, and it does take some touch, but you end up with a really, really nice effect. Now this one we're going to have to do a little bit of work just because you can see a lot of brush strokes in here. Not so much on camera, but in person you can see a lot of brush strokes, so I'll have to even those out. But just coming through here, there's some really, really nice shapes. Yeah. And then we just blend it out like so. So I'm just going to back up real quick and make sure we're on the right track. And I think that we are. Because it always helps when you're working on stuff, like I said, to look at it from a distance. You know, make sure you're doing what it is that you want to do. There we go. All right. I'm really enjoying how this is all coming together, which is kind of new because, not to say that I don't like my work, but, you know, I suffer from that quintessential doubt that a lot of artists have in their own abilities and in their own work. So it takes a fair bit for me to be really, really pleased with how something's going. But I am very much pleased with how this is going. I'll do one more down here. Just kind of following this shape a little. a little bit in here. The blending out is very important so that you don't have a very hard line. You know, because that would look a little, what's happening, Trip? Do the trails. I will get to those. Don't you worry. Do you want me to open the map too? Do you want to see the map? Well, too bad. How's your, I guess it's morning for you, right? How's your morning going, Trip? Yeah, I guess it is a little unrealistic without those blasted chemtrails, ain't it? Yeah, it's 8 a.m. Yeah. How's your morning going? We can go getting ready for work. Fair. Well, I appreciate you you tuning in before you head into work. I hope your work day is. I'm not sure what it is that you do for work, but I hope that it's filled with less meetings than I had today. I can't wait for those to slow down so that I can actually enjoy the streams more and participate more. Thanks, man. Home office. Nice. Same here. Thankfully, it's been nice to be able to work from home. Yeah. Right now we're just doing a few clouds on this side of the painting before we return to the other side, the dark side, and do some more angry looking clouds. But for now I thought I'd take a break and do stuff that's a little bit more in the background and a little more nice to look at before we move over into this stuff. But again, you can't really see it on camera unless I wonder if you can see it if I bring the camera in. Let's test it. Not really. My resolution is not great, but you can kind of make out in here. There are some brush strokes that I want to get rid of. Oh, thanks, Trip. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Sashano. Oh, you see them? Yeah. So I want to get rid of some of these brush strokes in here, so we're going to do a little bit of blending again, which is the fun part of doing paintings is trying to color match. It's sometimes quite stressful because you don't want to have to completely redo a section and completely repaint it because you didn't get the color right. Yeah, the vertical ones, yeah. Because those are left over from when we were just throwing paint on right from the very beginning. So, right now I'm just going to use circular strokes to just kind of cover those up and buff them out, if you will. which this is going to take some work, and we might have to redo some of this white, but that's okay. And there's some horizontal brush strokes through here, so I'm gonna take care of those a little bit. That's a good question, Trip. For some paintings, like some of the ones that we've already done on this channel, I do have a set idea in mind, and I'll work off of a reference image that I take, you know. And then sometimes I'll use the good old Google if I don't have a particular reference image for, like, say, like a mountain or something, because there are no mountains in southern Ontario. But more or less, sometimes I'll go through my archive of reference photos that I've taken, and I'll take, like, bits and pieces of those works and then put them together in a piece. Sometimes I'll just do a straight up... I'll alter it slightly, but I'll do like a straight up composition from a. Oh, okay. There's Blue Mountain. There is Blue Mountain. You got me there. But I'll sometimes I'll do just a straight up, like, I took a picture and it looks really good, and I think it would look really good as a drawing or a painting, and I'll just do that one straight while making a few alterations. And there's some like this one where I just started painting, and then this just kind of showed up. Hey now, Trip. I've got a friend who works very hard at Blue Mountain to make everybody think that it's not a sad, sad little hill. Even though it kind of is. Although I will say that it is a sad, sad, scary hill, because I do not trip off of skiing. I've gone skiing once in my life, and I don't really need to go again. I was 12 years old, and the snow was very icy, and I could not stop. I couldn't get off the bunny hill. This wasn't at Blue Mountain. I forget whether it was at Boulder Mountain or I don't know, some other place. I know it wasn't Blue Mountain. Anyway, all I know is that I was very, very cold because I was in that phase. You know how we all are when we're that age. You know, you think you're invincible, and I didn't wear snow pants. I just had jeans. So my jeans got very cold and wet, and I got very cold and wet. So ever since then, I've had zero desire to go back skiing. Now, would I be smarter about skiing now that I'm older and wiser? And would I actually wear snow pants? Yeah. But much like... Yeah. Yep. And it's funny to think that none of the adults that were on the trip thought to, be like, hey, we've got an extra pair of snow pants, you should wear them. Yeah. None of the adults thought, like, hey, this is a bad idea. Anyway, I spent most of that ski trip just sitting in the lounge as a socially awkward, shy 12-year-old, not really talking to anybody because I didn't know anybody, because everyone else that I knew was on the mountain, having a grand old time. So yeah, I'm not big on skiing. Although I probably should try it again someday. Now that I actually know what I need to do. Wear snow pants. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, the Rockies are actual mountains. Blue Mountain is very pretty, though. Collingwood, like that whole area, I do quite like that area. It's very nice. Very nice to visit. But yeah, Blue Mountain would definitely pale in comparison to that. And yeah, Sashano, teachers can be. Except I don't remember if this was a school trip. I don't know. The only thing I remember clearly is that I was very cold and was like very unimpressed with skiing. I think one of the big things about growing up is, like I try very hard not to be jaded, and I don't think that I'm a jaded or cynical person, but you realize, just like with every other profession, teachers are just like every other human, where there are some teachers that are great, and then there are some teachers who are just mailing it in and really don't care all that much, like you guys said, which is sad. But that's how every profession goes, I guess. I mean, there are some doctors out there that are just mailing it in, and that's a terrifying thought, but statistically, like, there's going to be doctors that are just kind of just going through the motions. Oh yeah, passionate teachers are the best. Also, thank you, Sashano. I don't know that I'm that awesome, but I appreciate it. Let me just check something real quick, because I think it might be about that time. Yeah, okay, I'm going to take a quick break so that I can do my favorite thing in the world and run an ad, but also so that I can get a drink. Just grab some more water. So I'm just going to throw up the be right back screen real quick. You were a punk ass kid that annoyed teachers? Hey. You know what, though? Sometimes you need those types of kids to keep teachers honest, you know? Like, I don't know if any of you follow football, but in football, there's an idea that you need to, like, run the football in order to keep the defense honest so that they don't just drop back waiting for a pass every single play. So sometimes you need punk kids to, you know, like, push boundaries to keep teachers on their toes. But yeah, I'm gonna run an ad real quick. Take Argos. When we come back, I will talk to you about my feelings towards the CFL, and if Jake from the Woods is still in here, he'll chime in too. But anyway, I'm gonna take a quick break. We'll see you all in just a second. All right, we're back. Yes, Sashano, the Canadian Football League. So, I am a football fan, although, in all honesty, basketball was my first true love, and seeing as, well, I mean, I started watching basketball a lot more over the past couple of years. It didn't help, it certainly helped that, thank you, Trip. It certainly helped that the Raptors, and I live just north of Toronto, it helped that the Raptors went to the finals. But I've been watching basketball my whole life. Basketball is my first love. The first team that I fell in love with was the Phoenix Suns, so the NBA Finals last year were heartbreaking for me. Although it was a very nice surprise because I didn't expect the Suns to make it to the playoffs, let alone to the finals. Anyway, but my second love is football. Yeah, exactly, Jason Kidd. I love Jason Kidd as a player for the Suns. I don't love the domestic violence. God, how hard is it for people just to keep their hands to themselves? Honestly, but that's another rant. I'm ranting about something right now that's much less important than domestic violence. Anyway, my second love is football. My second love is football. I didn't really get football until I played it in high school and understood the intricacies of the sport, and it's okay, I actually dig this. So the NFL, I really enjoy the sport of football in the NFL. However, I do not like the CFL. There are a couple of reasons why that are unfair. For one, the CFL, I think, is 9 teams now. It's going to 10 because of the Atlantics, or whatever the team out there is called, the Atlantic something, Schooners. I don't know. Anyway, but the league is just too small for it to have any sort of compelling drama for me, I guess. Which I know that shouldn't matter, and it's not the CFL's fault. I mean, they have to play with what they have to play with, and that's fine. But there are 2 things in the CFL where if they changed it, I would love the game. I don't mind the longer field. I don't mind the fact that it's 12 per side. I don't mind the silly onside kick, or the silly kick rule where you have to give the receiving player space to actually catch the ball off of a kick. You have to give him 5 yards, and then you can go after him. I like the Rouge. The Rouge is a fun little idea, I wouldn't be mad if the NFL instituted the Rouge in their game. I don't mind the bigger balls. I really don't. I don't even mind the goalposts at the very front of the end zone. What I do mind, and what I really can't stand about Canadian football, is the fact that it's 3 downs. If they made it 4 downs, I would watch the CFL all the time, because it would be a great supplement for the NFL. I hate 3-down football. I hate watching it. I hate playing it, because in grade 11 and 12 we had to play 3-down football, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it at all. A down, basically, Sashano, a down is a try. So basically, you have to move the ball 10 yards, right? You have to move the ball 10 yards, and you have 3, in American football, you have 4 tries to do that, right? You have 4 tries to make it 10 yards. And then if you make it 10 yards within those 4 tries, you get a fresh set of downs or a fresh set of tries. So say it's the first down is first down, 10 yards to go. 1st and 10, right? If you run the ball 5 yards, then it's 2nd down and 5 to go, right? 2nd and 5. And then if you go 6 yards instead of the 5, because you need 5, right? If you get 6, then it's 1st down again, right? In Canadian football, you only get 3 tries. And if you're getting 2 teams that are really, really bad at offense, the entire game is 1st down is a run, 2nd down is a pass, third down is a punt, and that's the entire game. And I can't watch it. I can't watch it. I've tried over and over again. I've given it plenty of tries. Until Canadian football does away with the 3-down rule, I can't watch the game. Which really sucks, because I would really love to support Canadian football. I really would. I would love to support the CFL. I love the fact that they have the first, I think it was the first black commissioner in professional sports in North America. I love that. They're very, revenue aside, there are those who say that 3-down football makes it a passing game. But unfortunately, there's also not a whole lot of good they're much better at football than I am. But there's also not that many good football players in the CFL, including quarterbacks. So, I don't know. It's unfair of me, and I realize that it's unfair of me. But I just think it's an inferior game. Like, every time I watch the CFL, I just wish I was watching the NFL. Which, again, is unfair of me. Because it's fundamentally different games. And there are plenty, like Jake from the Woods, my friend, my in-real-life friend, who really treasure that difference and can appreciate both games. I just can't. And that's a failing on my part. But yes, now when you have two competent quarterbacks, because I've watched some Grey Cups, and when you have two competent quarterbacks who can actually move the ball, 3 downs does make it more exciting to watch. I don't know if it makes it more exciting than the NFL. Some people would argue that it does, but it does make it a more exciting game. But on the whole, like, I just can't. Yeah, they will never get rid of the Canadian rules, which makes my entire argument moot. But as I was saying, revenue aside, like, and that's just because of like viewership and all that, and I think that's even improved over the past couple of years. The CFL is I like the way that they run their organization, but I just can't watch the product. That's fair. That's fair too. Yeah. I will say, having played it and having watched it in person, football is much better when you're playing it, and it's also much better watching it in person. I find that basketball is pretty much the same experience, other than like the crowd experience in person. Same with hockey. Baseball is much better in person than on TV as well. But football doesn't translate as well when you're not filled with a stadium full of people. That makes football much more exciting. Yeah. And unfortunately, those breaks will never go... Like, it really makes me upset that, they're really starting with this whole, like, putting ads on the jerseys and everything. It's like, well, okay, if you're going to start putting ads on jerseys, you need to do, like, English soccer, English football. Where, okay, there's ads on the jerseys, but there's no commercials, right? But these leagues in North America will never do that because there's just so much money to be made off of these commercials. So you're just bombarded by ads. It's such a trip watching professional sports games from like the 70s and 80s, where like in hockey, the boards around the stadium are just white. There's no ads on them. There's no ads anywhere. It's really... Have I mentioned that I hate ads yet? Because I really do. They're intrusive. They're just dumb. Like, if I want to buy your product, I will buy it. You don't need to advertise it to me. Anyway. Yes, I do appreciate the fact that with footy, there aren't any breaks. is just action. I do appreciate that. You know what I'm excited for? Not so much with what's going to come of like actually holding the Winter Olympics, in terms of like, you know, the pandemic and all that, but I only watch this particular sport three times, once every 4 years, and that is curling. I get so into curling during the Olympics. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait for some curling. Some Olympic curling. Olympic curling isn't my favorite Winter Olympic sport, but it's, I love watching it. Yeah. Yeah, that does sound nice. I haven't been to a professional soccer game yet. I keep meaning to. I mean, the pandemic put a stop to it, but since I moved up here, I've always been meaning to go to a Toronto FC game, but I haven't had the chance to yet. You know, but that does sound lovely. The one thing that I do like about like going and watching live baseball games is the atmosphere, because the atmosphere is so different. Like every other sporting event that I've been to, people are there for the event. I would agree with that. I went to a Fulham FC when I went to go visit Jake from the Woods when he lived in the UK. We went to go see a Fulham FC game, and yeah, that was an amazing experience. The one crowd experience that I always find interesting though is baseball games, because it's so different. Like whether it's soccer, I've been to hockey games, I've been to basketball games, I've been to football, I've been to an NFL game, I've been to CFL games. Everybody is there for that event, right? You're there for that event. Like you purposely go to that event for that event, right? But the baseball games that I've been to, even when the Jays are good, like good, every single baseball game I've gone to, the atmosphere is so different. It's more like, oh, we had nothing to do this afternoon, let's go catch this game, you know. And it's because there's so many baseball games. There's like 162 of them. But it's a very interesting, very different atmosphere compared to the other sports that I've gone to watch. Yeah, baseball is fun too. I love curling. I used to watch the Briar and the Tournament of Hearts. Yeah. Like I'll watch curling if it's on somewhere that I'm at. Like if I'm at the gym and they've got curling on, like I'll watch curling. Or if it's on at the bar, like if I'm at a bar or a restaurant, I'll watch it there. There are too many. You want to hear my idea that got shot down by everybody from years ago with baseball? So there are too many games, right? My idea was that you institute kind of a relegation type thing. A relegation type thing like they do in English football. But not relegation in that you get moved to a lower league. It's at the All-Star break. If you're below 500, your season's over. Your season's over. Now, of course, the easier solution would be just to reduce the number of games in baseball. But I do kind of have an affinity for my idea, where like if you make it to the All-Star break and you've got a losing record and you really have no chance of making the playoffs, your season's over. Which one will make everybody more competitive? And well, actually, the thing that will fix baseball is yeah, that's exactly it. They would never allow it for those reasons. There's just too much money. It's too much money. You remember curling? Yeah. I think this down here, I got rid of all those brush strokes, at least all the ones that I was concerned about. So I think down here is done, which is excellent. So I'm just going to give my knees a break for a second. We're just going to sit back here, and before we move to this more center part here, because I think the bottom right corner is done. So now we've just got this to worry about, and really, I don't see us having to do too much work. That's very nice of you, Trip. Alright. Just give my knees a stretch. Grab a quick swig of water. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. So let's get started on this middle section. We're going to need some red. And I'm probably going to have to squeeze some more blue out of one of these tubes. And we'll finish up the last 15 minutes doing this center section here. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. And again, there's not too much that I want to do in here. You might request that... I can't do that to her. Actually, it's funny you mention that, though, because during the summer, during the first... whenever the first lockdown was, they had the idea to, like, get a bunch of, like, Dragon Boat members together, and anybody who was interested, like, I would teach them how to do the Thriller dance. So we did that. Be a good Easter egg, yeah, it would. But I did teach some of her Dragon Boat members how to do the Thriller dance. So that was fun. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just layering some lighter areas over these darker areas. You know, to make it a little less monotone and a little bit more defined than it is. Oh, my girlfriend, she doesn't stream, but what she's doing right now is she races Dragon Boat, but this year she's focusing on coaching. So she's coaching, she's basically taking a bunch of members on the rec team, I think, through a workout. And she does that every Thursday. She's probably going to start doing it Saturday mornings too. Doing a Zoom workout. Which was a thing that was kind of born out of the pandemic, but a lot of people enjoy it initially. And then, you know, they kind of like burnt out on it after a while, but it's a good idea to keep the members fit. You know, because she does a competitive, like there's the rec team and then there's the competitive team, and she did a lot of stuff with the competitive team, and she's still planning on doing it, but she's kind of transitioning into coaching this year, and then she'll probably race again when everything opens up, but just with the jobs that she was working in school, because she's doing her MBA and all that, she felt that she couldn't devote the time and energy that it would take to like be really into the competitive level, so she took a step back and is coaching instead. All right, man. No worries. No worries. I appreciate you coming and hanging out. You know, I appreciate all y'all coming out and just watching what we're doing here. You know, it means a lot to me that with everything that you all could possibly be doing, you decide to come and watch me make a mess. Oh, you redeemed Glug Glug. All right. I don't have much water left, but I've got some, so. Oh, there's so many Glug. Okay. I'm going to have to go get some more water, but I'm going to have to do that after the stream. So just trust that I drank some water. That's fair. Thanks for hanging out, Trip. I appreciate it. And since you're lurking, I always feel like somebody's watching me. Thanks, y'all. I appreciate you all, y'all coming in. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the stream that you get to see or listen to. All right. Have a good night, man. So yeah, we're just working through the center part here. But I do really appreciate y'all coming out. I noticed a couple of times that the viewers got up to 8, which I think outside of that one big raid that we had that one time, that's the most viewers we've ever had. So I appreciate y'all coming out and watching, even if it's just for a bit. Like I said, my main goal with this channel is to try and make art a little bit more accessible. Because there's a lot of aspects of the art world that kind of purposely make art inaccessible. And I kind of want to combat that a little bit, you know? Because I think especially now with like social media and, you know, all the different types of media like Netflix and all that kind of stuff, like art has never been more prevalent in people's everyday lives. And visual arts should be the same. And it should be celebrated and it should be more widely available to people, you know? So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this channel, is make it kind of a safer space. Hey, thanks Illustrator J. Also, welcome to the chat. See, you're a first time chatter. Haven't been talking, making dinner, we're gonna eat and put The Witcher on. Fair. Well, hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you lurking all this time. We're gonna finish up probably in about like 7 minutes or so. But yeah, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate. Thank you. I appreciate you liking the painting. Yeah, it's coming along pretty well. I'm pretty pleased with it so far. But yeah, we're gonna be wrapping up pretty soon here. But it's exciting because the next time we get together, we'll be done the clouds, and we can work on some of the meat and potatoes of the painting. The next time we come together. Oh, well, tell Jess I say hello. And then I'm sorry that I couldn't rejoin her stream this morning. The meeting I was in went a little longer than I wanted it to. But I hope the rest of it went well. Make that money. Yeah. It's actually kind of nice. I got paid this week, which was the first time I've gotten paid from a job since March of 2020. So it was a nice feeling. Because when the pandemic hit, I went on leave from my job for medical reasons because I have asthma, and I was like, you know what? I don't really want to risk coming into contact with people when they could put me in the hospital, you know? And then I decided then that I wanted to change out of what I was doing and try like a new career path. So I spent a year and a bit searching for work, and thankfully finally found a job. So getting paid for the first time in a while felt pretty good, I must say. I was very fortunate. You know, there's a lot of people still out there looking for jobs, and I hope they can find something soon. Because it was a hard hustle, much harder than I ever remember it being when I was younger, which is unfortunate. Cool, man. Cool, man. Catch y'all later. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. So, I think that other than cleaning up a few of the bare spots, like I said, I think this is pretty much done. So let me grab the camera and kind of just go around the painting. I'm gonna have to grab my computer too, bring it with me. So we have this here. And we move over here, come down to this stormier area, and we'll kind of zoom out a bit and get as much of this in the shot as possible, which is hard to do when a painting is 6x4. But yeah, that's what we got going on so far. So let me prop y'all up here before we go find somebody to raid, shall we? You can get a nice view of the painting. All right, and let's find someone to raid, shall we? All right, Twitch.tv, and again, I will eventually put this on screen so you can actually see what I'm doing. One of these days I'll figure it out. Okay, art. Ooh, you know what? There's a person right now painting a xenomorph. Be at easel. And it looks like it's some sort of traditional art. I'm not quite sure, but let's go say hello to them. So, hey, thanks, Trip. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm glad you came out. So we're gonna go say hello to Be at Easel. Yes, that sounds like a good plan. So I just want to say thank you everybody for coming out. I appreciate you watching. I hope you had a good time. And yeah, the next time we get together, we will actually be doing something other than clouds. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So we will catch you all then. And until then, y'all take it easy. Take care of yourselves. And we will see you then. All right. Take it easy, everybody.